Hi Leo, welcome to your May 2023 Astrotarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Leo, this is for you, but I advise that you watch your ascendant sign, especially if you're only going to watch one, because there's a lot more astrology in these. It's likely to be the most accurate for you, but I do encourage you to watch all three just in case. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine with me. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I'm going to pop these to the side because those will be for your weeks of the month, and we will start here. What I wanted to mention here as well is the first transit that I would like to look at for all of us is on May the 8th. Venus is coming into the sign of Cancer, so the lady of pleasure, value, resources, money, wealth. Venus is also diplomacy as well, and harmony. So at this point, when Venus comes into the sign of Cancer, it's going to be moving into your 12th house. Now, Mars has already been in the 12th house for some time in the sign of Cancer, so this will have really, for a lot of you, I feel like this has been you maybe cleaning up that mental space, getting on top of your mental health, maybe through some kind of crisis potentially, but seeing you get really proactive about addressing something from your past and finding a way through it. Well, Venus comes in and she's bringing you a sweet boost to this, right? And because the 12th house is also the space of your dreams, this could also be that she is bringing more pleasant dreams to you, right? The 12th house is also your bedroom, or your boudoir, as I like to say, and Venus and Mars are known as the celestial lovers. So this could literally be like maybe a love relationship comes up for some of you. Maybe you deepen the bond with your partner. Maybe you start getting back to that good time where, sex was a bit more prominent and it was a bit more free, or it was a bit more present even, right? Time, life, routine, all of that stuff can kind of get in the way of that, especially if you've been with your partner for a long time. So this could really excite and activate that, which is really nice. It could also be a sexual and intimate time for many of you, and it's also possible that your dreams could ease up a bit. So Mars in the 12th tends to bring things like more intense dreams, more active dreams as well. I know for me personally, when Mars moves through the 12th house, I tend to find that my dreams are a lot more active, they're a lot more intense, and they tend to have a kind of, sometimes they can be a bit more violent, a bit more vivid, definitely more active. And one thing that I was going to say just a minute ago, but I forgot, that I find personally, they tend to, what tends to happen for me is they, it's not just that they get more intense, but it's almost like I wake up more tired because I feel like I've been very active in the dreamscape. So the other thing here as well, this could be a time of deep healing of the psyche. Now, it will require you to lean into it because obviously Mars is still there, but Venus could really bring, because it's in the 12th house, so this could bring you nudges, hunches, or some kind of excitation in that space. Very, very possible. May also help you clean up your or be nicer to yourself on that mental health level. All right, so for this you have the 10 of Wands, so definitely the release of some kind of burden, and this with the 2 of Swords, wow, and the 3 of Swords. So not only are you releasing maybe some kind of mental baggage, maybe some kind of mental trauma, that's possible. With that 2 of Swords though, this actually feels to me like you're ready to start giving yourself not a better time, but it's like now you're ready to actually be kinder to yourself, whether this is in terms of your self-talk, what you say to yourself, what you hold in there. Because remember as well, the 12th house is our self-sabotaging tendencies, where we kind of get in our own way or hinder ourselves. And you know, this for me, the 10 of Wands releasing a burden, that three of Swords really like cutting it out, letting it go, releasing it. And then with that 2 of Swords in the middle, that's a psychic energy card. So this is like really and because it's the 2 of Swords, it represents the moon in Libra. This is about justice, and what I feel, you know, in Libra is actually about fairness and equality as well. And it's Venus, right, in that 12th house. So I kind of get the feeling that this is you. It's almost like you're ready to finally be kinder to yourself than maybe you have been in a while. We'll get to that in a moment, but that'll be the first card. So you're on the 11th of May, the moon is going to conjunct Pluto, and it's going to oppose Mars, but it's not a true opposition by sign. It's an opposition by orb, right? So, and I really felt like this one was something that we do need to look at. Moon Pluto can be a lot of intense feelings. It's potentially some kind of secret that's revealed. It is a heading towards a last quarter square moon as well, which means that some kind of action will be required due to a potential crisis of sorts. Now for you, this is happening. The moon is conjuncting Pluto in the 7th house of partnerships, connections, relationships. Now it might be more intensity in terms of those things. Now this could be personal, it could be professional, it could be platonic. It may even be all of the above, right? Another way that this could be, it could be that a relationship secret is revealed to you. Maybe your partner comes to you and tells you something and you're like, okay, I'm not really sure how to deal with this at the moment, but I know that I do need to deal with it now. And that will be the energy signature of it. It's like, okay, this has come up. I didn't know it before. I don't really have time to process, but I do have to deal with it at this moment in time. Then it's also, so because it's at that last quarter square, it means that you will, like I say, you will need to act on it here. It's not a true opposition though, so there is that element to it. For this, we've got the Judgment card, right? Judgment card always represents big change, but it's also an ending, a completion, a culmination card. And so this does suggest that whatever comes up is likely to be very intense. And here's where this gets interesting. The Judgment card is Pluto. You've got this with the Emperor. So for those of you that are married or in long-term or sort of solid commitments, this may be coming up for you guys. And, you know, for those of you that are single and maybe, you know, into that, maybe you're connecting with somebody that is just really, really intense and you're not entirely sure how to kind of navigate that. With this Emperor and the Ace of Swords as well, because the 7th house is also contracts, that is a contract of some sort. It could be a professional contract. Now, maybe something is offered to you that completely changes your world, your life, or your outlook, but it's almost like it's quite, you know, yeah, I would say disruptive, potentially quite intense. And for some of you, this may actually involve a legal matter that comes up in some way, shape or form that needs to be looked at sort of immediately. There won't be a way for you to get around it. You're just going to have to deal with it sort of as it comes up. The third transit that I wanted to look at for all of us this month was on the 16th of May. It's like 7 p.m. here in the UK, so you'll have to convert that to your time zone. But on the 16th of May, Jupiter, the Lord of expansion, growth, abundance, the Lord of growth and movement, the Lord of growth and levity, right? Jupiter brings healing wherever it goes, and it also brings an element of helping you shine or grow or expand more into yourself fully. The fact that this is coming into your 10th house of career is very, very exciting, because this is, you know, it's likely that your public persona is going to be expanded or amplified in some way. So whatever your larger than life goals are, and I'm not talking about stuff in the future that you aspire to one day, I'm talking in the here and now, what you're doing in terms of like your public outlook, your public persona. I'm talking about the here and now. And Jupiter represents integrity. So this could see you really getting in touch with what you feel to be your personally most aligned path for your career, for your purpose, for your legacy out in the world. It also might help you, and remember this is a 12-month transit, so it's not just happening on this day. Jupiter's coming into the sign of Taurus, and there's not going to be, you know, the last, so when it went into Pisces, when it went into Aries, Jupiter jumped signs back and forth, right, because of its retrograde energy. Well, when Jupiter comes into Taurus, it's going to stay in Taurus for the whole 12 months. So this is, even in that retrograde phase, it's an expansion, a growth of your career, of your social status, the luck, the abundance, the resources, the ability to reach higher and higher goals or aspirations, but more in the grounded sort of sense, in the here and now. This is about growing what you have now, rather than sort of the 11th house where it's there out in the future somewhere. Now, you do have to lean into Jupiter transits, because everyone kind of, it's like, oh yeah, I'm having a Jupiter transit, I can just sit on my butt and do nothing. No, you have, you know, whatever planet it is, you always have to work it to some degree. Now, as the ruler of your 5th house and your 8th house, something that you love to do or enjoy could make you money or bring you the recognition that you're seeking. It could just as easily bring a sexual connection that is quite romantic and potentially fun, and maybe even creative all in one. It could also be that you connect with somebody that helps you grow or expand your career in some regard as well. So that could be really, really exciting. For this, you've got the 8 of Wands. Do expect yourself to be in high demand. There's going to be a lot of emails, phone calls, text messages, right? That 8 of Wands suggests that you're going to be very busy for the next 12 months. You've got this with the Page of Swords. So that's an interview that's coming in, especially because you've got the Ace of Swords here as well. That's an interview of some sort that comes in that potentially changes everything for you. And then you've got the Queen of Swords, right? So the first thing that I want to say to you is, don't promise what you know you're not able to deliver, right? Do, however, talk yourself up, right? If you know there's something that you can absolutely smash out of the park better than most, whatever the skill or the thought or whatever it is, right? If there's something that you know, like this area of life, this area of my work, this area of my career, this is where I know my shit, okay? I, like, in the words of Mo Hart, I know how to do this, okay? Alright, so like where you know what you're doing and you know how to do it and you know you can give it, talk that up. The stuff that you don't know, that you're not aware of, be 100% honest and upfront about, right? Keep it 100 with whoever you interact with and say, this is what I can absolutely do and I will do it to the best of my ability. This is where I'm shaky, or I don't know, or I can't do this. You know, you decide. The reason I say this is because the Queen of Swords it's about what we fight for, right? So you got to show up, but at the same time, she is very much, you know, it's an energy of fairness and equality, and therefore honesty. And so with this combination of things, be very mindful of promising, you know, over promising and then under delivering. If anything, during your Jupiter transit through the 10th house, do the opposite. I challenge you, my dear Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant brothers and sisters, to challenge yourself to under-promise and then fucking smash it out of the park, right? So, well, you know, this is probably what I will be able to do. And then when you get into it and you start preparing for it, you go to town. So that when they get it, they're like, damn, like, you said it would be okay. Like, this is awesome, all right? Lean into it. There's a lot of interviews, a lot of meetings going on this month, you know, and this is kicking off that stage and that phase for you. And then the final transit that I wanted to look at is Mars, the planet of action, energy, passion, excitation, irritation, anger, frustration, annoyance, is coming into your sign. Now, Mars moving through the 12th, like I said, it may have brought up lots of shit from the past that needed to be dealt with. Whereas now that it's come into your sign, it's giving you back your mojo. It's giving you energy and passion and desire to really get after what it is that you want, to go after the things that you want, that you need, that you desire. The things that really switch and turn you on are what's going to become important to you from here on in, right? Now, the fact that this happens on the 21st, it's going to be in a perfect sextile to the sun in the sign of Gemini in your 11th house. This could see you getting really proactive about expanding your reach out in the world, maybe connecting to different communities. It could also see you going after connections that you know are going to be able to help you build or enhance your profile. So you're getting your mojo back here for a good, 4 to 6 weeks. That's how long it takes Mars to move through a sign. The challenge that you have here is this, as it comes into Leo at 0 degrees, it's going to be directly opposing Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This transit for you and Aquarius is possibly going to be the most intense, right? It's Pluto and Mars squaring off, right, in two angular houses of your chart. All right, it's as much as I will say. On the other side of this is a showdown between what you want for yourself and what you will and won't accept, and what's expected of you or wanted from you by others. And only you are going to be able to decide about this. Now, there's a sense here that you're being asked to get serious about the opportunities that arise, because that same energy of Mars is going to be in a direct square. Jupiter is newly in Taurus at this point, so it's going to be Mars squaring Jupiter. So this potentially gets out of hand, or the career grows and expands to a point where you're like, this is amazing, I'm loving it, it's wonderful, and then suddenly all the stipulations and potentially all of the expectations due to that growth or influx of work or business or partners and collaborators or whatever it might be, suddenly then it's sort of like, it's one of those moments where, okay, this was amazing and it's still amazing, but now shit gets real. All right, it's like I got what I wanted or some sort of big blessing, but now I've got to show up for it. For this, we have the Four of Swords, so take your time, right? You got all the time that you need with the Empress. The Empress is a lady. The Empress is Venus, darling, and Venus is a lady, all right? She does not rush anything. So this with the Four of Swords, take time out regularly, all right? Like, take time while this transit is happening and all of that intensity is going on. Take time regularly to get out into the natural world. It looks like this is potentially creating some sort of need, and maybe there's travel coming in because of all of this influx of new energies, new people, new work, etc. With this Chariot card, if you are traveling, it's likely to be to a place that is quite hot, but it's quite moist at the same time. It's like, equatorial sort of places. You'd be looking at, like the rainforests of Brazil, Bali, Fiji, those sort of hot, tropical kind of moist climates. It looks like a lot of you are potentially interacting with the Middle East as well in some regard. Now, that being said, this is exciting some of your plans, right? I just take time, because the Chariot card is a card of energy that speeds up, right? And the Four of Swords is the complete opposite. So you've got to find a way to Venus, right? Because the Empress is Venus. She's about balance. You got to balance your need to rest, recuperate, and recharge with the need to kind of go at it. Now, if you haven't heard of the concept, look it up. It's called working like a lion. So it's like you hit it really hard, you do what needs to be done for a certain period of time, and then you take a break, right? And you lie down, you have a nap, you do whatever, just like lions do. When they hunt, right? They get in, they do what needs to be done, and then they eat. And then they relax, and then they have a nap in the sun, and then they get up and the whole thing starts again. All right, so find a way to do that in your personal life. Now, for the first week of the month, look at that, right? You've got the Tree of Life. I love this card. It's one of my favorite throughout all of my decks. And the message behind this card is divine intervention and assistance. So straight out of the gate, the first week of May is potentially bringing you what is something that is divinely inspired, something that lands in your lap where you kind of feel like, yeah, this is not random. This is something up there. If you experience a delay, remember Mercury is retrograde in that 10th house. So if you're experiencing a delay, or what I like to call the divine detour, take it, right? That's the universe stepping in to say, that's not the right path for you, or actually this isn't supposed to happen right now. It's hard, right? When it happens at the time, you're kind of like, fuck, I planned this, but there's a reason for that, right? Divine intervention and divine assistance. You will have both in that first week of the month. Then you've got the Magician card. I mean, right? Potentially connecting to or interacting with or finding yourself in the right place at the right time. Connecting to a powerful person, a mover and a shaker, somebody who is in a position to really help you or assist you. I would, however, not take it with a pinch of salt, but just manage your own expectations, right? Don't get too far into the fantasy of it all, because the Magician card can also show up as the trickster. And so it is a potential here that somebody could say something to you and maybe you take it as absolute law, and then you realize, okay, so they've kind of exaggerated a little bit here. All right, and then for the third week of the month, you have the Emperor card. So that Emperor card came up for you before, and it was around the I think it was the Jupiter in Taurus transit. But the Emperor, like in this kind of energy, especially next to the Magician, you're meeting someone that's a power player. And potentially this person takes a shine to you, wants to help or assist you. You will need to prove your mettle. It's the Emperor, right? You're going to have to show where you are an expert, where you are, where you are good at what you say you do, where it is that you've talked yourself up. You're going to have to show up there, right? Where it is that you said, okay, you know what, this isn't my strong suit, but work on that so that when you get to present that part of whatever it is that you do, you can actually say, well, I did my best. For the fourth week of the month, you've got the Judgment card. Big changes on the horizon, right? That's the second time both of these cards have come up for you. Potentially as well, it's Judgment next to the Emperor. This could represent a big change in a commitment that you believed was solid. It could just as easily represent a big change in the life of an important male figure in your life. A father, a husband, a boyfriend, a teacher, a mentor, a guru, whatever, but will likely be a masculine energy. Like with the kings and the queens, you can usually stretch it, but the Emperor, it will be a man. All right, like the Emperor and the Empress, they rarely show up for people of same-sex orientation or anything like that. The Emperor and the Empress are usually a man or a woman. The kings and the queens of the pip cards, slightly different. If you want to know more about that, my tarot course is coming later this year. Shameless self-promotion there. All right, and then finally, for your moons, okay, that card seems to want out. So for your new moon, which is in the sign of Taurus, which is in that 8th house, this card, the contribution card from the Human Design Oracle deck, let me put these here so that you can see them. This card basically represents your unique contribution to the world. So that new moon that happens in the sign of Taurus is going to get you to, it's basically paving the way for you to share what you feel is your purpose. This isn't about what anybody else wants from you, needs from you, or desires. This card is basically saying what you feel you are meant to do, to share, to bring the world, to offer in your job, to leave behind as your legacy for family, your children, etc., whatever it might be. This is the time for you to shine that light, and regardless of whatever anybody else thinks or feels. And then your full moon message, the full moon lunar eclipse at the beginning of the month, is in the sign of Scorpio. Scenting, right? So the first thing this card represents is your instincts. Your instincts around this full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio is going to be spot on. Do not let anything or anyone sway you. If your intuition tells you to jump, you jump. If your intuition tells you to ignore that text, don't go to that party, or lean into this, send that email, whatever it tells you, your instincts are going to be on the money at this time. And speaking of money, this is potentially a card that shows up that can lead you to finances or resources. And it's also potentially a card that shows you, that's why you got the doggy on the front, what and who is loyal to you and whether they are actually worthy or worth your own loyalty towards them. All right, that full moon eclipse it's gonna be a stinker. All right, so with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.